Oh, it is well when I can see the rain. Oh, it is well when I can see the gain. It is well when troubles weigh me down. It is well. 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 When my soul, it is well. It is well. Oh, it is well. It is well. It is well. Oh, I know. It is well. Yes, it is. You are my strength in weakness, light in darkness, capable God. I trust in you. My God, my helper, oh Lord, of me. I am a product of grace. It is well when I can see the rain. When I can see the rain. It is well when I can see the grace. Now I can see your face. It is well. Oh, it is when troubles weigh me down. You let me be. Oh, it is well. Oh, it is well. It is well. I got peace in your word. So much confidence in you. I love you. It is well. Yeah. It is well. It is well. I believe for sure that everything works for good. When some say there's a casting down, we will say there's a lifting up. We believe and say it is well. It is well. Sing it. When some say there's a casting down, there's a lifting up for you. We will say there's a lifting up. Just believe, just believe, and say it is well.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is well today. God is good, and He is awesome to each and every one of us. My name is Gregory Bloomfield. Thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Motivation Moments with your host, myself, Gregory Bloomfield. Yeah, thank you for thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for supporting this show by just watching. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for joining us. If you can do me a real quick favor, can you like the show? Can you, hey, Roslyn, how are you? If you can like the show, if you can, most importantly, subscribe. Don't be the part-time viewer, but have a full-time commitment with Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield. Subscribe it. And most importantly, if you've been blessed all this whole time, please share the show, share it, put it in your DMs, tell everyone that Gregory Bloomfield is on the air and he's got a word and he's got an amazing guest. And if you're on Facebook, shout outs to you as well. Please don't forget to follow the channel, Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield. Follow me as I follow Jesus Christ. So yes, the purpose of this show is to encourage, It's to inspire and to motivate each and every one of us for being better in our lives. You know, Sunday nights is a very depressing night for many people. So this is why the show was created. It's to motivate you to face that week, to face that job, to face that challenge that you may have, to motivate you in different ways. And we are in the middle of our new month of July, the second half of 2023. And the theme for this month is renew and transform. I got some amazing guests coming this week. As our tradition is, I set off the tone by giving a word the first Sunday of the month, but the rest of the month I have amazing guests for you. And today I have the blessing of introducing a really cool guy, someone I've known for over 30 years. If you haven't picked up your copy of The 522 Man, you need to pick that up right away. You can get it from my website at sisterpamelapublishing.com. It hit #1 on Amazon in the new releases category. It's also available in many other places, but I would prefer that you get it here. I'm working on a summer sale for the book and for other products that I have, parenting teens, writing in his presence. So therefore, stay connected with me at bloomfieldting@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, and I will be sure to keep you informed of what's going on with my products and my books and new books coming out. So, and if you ever need a speaking engagement, me to come to your church or to come to your meeting or your group, the email's right here, bloomfieldting@gmail.com. God has been good. I've been getting quite a few interviews for the book and for other things. So the word's getting out, the ministry's growing, and I thank you so much for your support. Now, I want to introduce to you my friend. Now, he gave me a very long bio, and I read it, and I'm just going to introduce him like this. You know, many of us, we have friends that we've had for many years. I've known Craige Campbell for almost a little more than 30 years, right? We've went to the same university at different times because he's a little bit older than me, but we have been friends. We've been there for each other, the good and the bad. I've seen his kids grow up. He's seen my kids grow up. I remember, when he had no kids. And we've just known each other for a long time. He is a sales professional. And he's from the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada, which is my hometown. Shout out to all the Canadians watching. If you're Canadian, put your flags up. Say you're from Toronto, T.dot 416. Yeah. So we there's something about Canadians, people from Toronto, that no matter where you move, whether it's the States or England, or whatever, Toronto is always home. So every time when I go home, I must find my friend, right? And say, what's up? Whether we meet up at a Harvey's or a Dimitri's or at our respective parents' homes or at our homes. Yeah, he's the brethren, And one of the things as well is that he's a sales professional, as I just mentioned. He loves Jesus Christ. He is a former high school football player. I think he was a running back. And he is a men's ministry leader at his church, the Mississauga Seventh-day Adventist Church. Shout out to Mississauga. And also, he is married. He has 4 beautiful children, and he's a grandfather. So, without further ado, I am very honored to introduce to you my friend and brother from another mother and father, Mr. Craige Campbell. What's up, bro?
I'm doing well, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for the intro. Hey, you told me to send you something, so I sent you something. So if it's too long, well, you didn't give me any parameters. So, but your intro was totally fine, and I'm happy to be here and welcome for those that have tuned in and signed in for today.
All right, cool. So yeah, let's get right into it, man. I mean,
sure.
we've known each other for a long time. So
Long
don't tell embarrassing stories?
I could. Right.
Likewise, hey, don't dare me. I know some,
Oh, all right.
but
All right.
I have more embarrassing stories. But yeah,
You do.
yeah, I do it because I'm the younger guy, so I did some foolish stuff.
Mm,
And the one thing I can say, even before we get into it, thank you for checking me when I needed to be checked. Yeah,
no problem.
and thank you for praising me when I needed to be praised. Yeah, I know that my mother's watching right now, and she's like, "Oh my God, Craige is on the show." Yes, and I told my daughter and my son, but my daughter said, "Uncle Craige is going to be on." Oh wow, yeah, I have to tune in. So I believe that they're watching right
All
now.
right.
Yeah, so it's real dope.
Well, good evening to all of you.
Yeah,
Isabel, Mr. Bloomfield. Great to see you guys.
thank you.
Or great
Well,
to be seen, I guess, because I can't really see.
yeah,
You know what I
she'll say something like she thought that, like, with YouTube, it's like, can they see me? No, they can't see.
No.
No, you didn't get the link.
Mm.
So the the theme is renew and transform, right?
That's right.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, especially now as being the second half of 2023,
Mm.
what does that mean to you? I spoke a little about it last week on the show, but seeing you're the first interview, and obviously you're a member of Masaga Adventist Church and you're a men's ministry director. Tell me in your words, what does renewal and transformation of your life mean to you purposely, and how do you use those words and those concepts in your business, in your family, and in your ministry?
Well, great question. I think that the first thing that comes to mind when I think of renew and transform is the word insanity. We all heard this word and the definition of it, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I think it's really important to look at it when you think of renewing and transforming, because if you stop for a moment, just look at your life, look at your business, look at your ministry, look at whatever you're doing, and look at the results of it. Are you happy with the results? Do you find that you're fighting and going up like a hill with bowling shoes on and it's raining? Like you're just not making a lot of progress. You don't have the proper equipment. So sometimes you have to transform, like almost stop what you're doing and say, okay, here's where I want to get to. Am I going to get there if I keep doing what I'm doing? If the answer is no, then you have to stop. You have to actually renew your message. You have to renew your game plan. You have to renew whatever it is that you're doing. And then that transformation is going to come as you continue to go into this new direction, this new journey. So for me, when I think of renewing, I do all of those things. But of course, I also definitely put it to God to say, okay, I thought it was going the right direction, but I don't seem to be getting the right results. And I almost ask him, is like, you know what, if there's a door or the window that needs to be open, please open it. If there's people that need to be in my life that I need to meet, be introduced to, something I need to learn, help me to do that. And if there's doors that need to be closed, windows need to be closed, please close them. And I want to be able to go with what I have currently in front of me. And sometimes to do that, it means shutting everything out.
Yeah.
It means taking my phone and not putting it face down, putting it in a different room, turning it off if I need to. And sometimes I go for walks and I'm just in silence. Sometimes I'll sit in this room. This is my office right now. I'll just sit here, just close my eyes, just a moment of silence, and just listen for inspiration in terms of where I want to go and what I want to do and what I'm trying to think of the end in mind.
Right.
So now when I start breaking that insanity cycle, I recognize, okay, that was silly. I can't believe I'm still doing that. That was never going to work. Why did I even start doing that in the first place? And I start to write and sort of plan out exactly where I want to go. Now I've renewed my journey. I've renewed my plan, if you will. And then as I go through, then the transformation starts to take place. And now I feel different. I'm doing things different. And all of a sudden I have more energy. because I'm doing something new. I'm excited. Just like whenever you get a new gadget, a new car, new anything, like your energy is just at a different level because it's something new. It's
Right.
something you haven't done before, haven't seen before, haven't sat in, driven before. Everything about it is new. So that energy comes because if you're doing something that is drudgery to you, it's slow, it's like not exciting, it's you're not getting the progress that you want, then it you don't have a lot of energy to go back and to do it the next day, the next week, the next month. Then you start to question things. You might even snap at other people that have nothing to do with it because it's your plan, but maybe the plan just needs to be tweaked a little bit. And that's what I think of when I think of renew and transform.
Yeah, those are excellent points. And I do a lot of those things as well. Like you mentioned, writing stuff down. I really believe when the word of God says, write the vision, make it plain, sometimes you have to make adjustments, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
a lot of times, like we all start off at the beginning of the year. We have budgets. I'm in the finance world. You have a budget, you have all this type of stuff, and you work your plan. But then there's a black swan event, or there's an event that happens that you didn't plan for, you didn't factor in.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and just like what you said, is that you need to stop. Don't panic, right? I think Nehemiah Johnson was on the couple weeks ago. He said, life be life in.
Life
You
be
know,
life.
life be life in, right? So sometimes you could have the best of plans, but then life happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stop, recalibrate, don't panic, write it down, and also prioritize. Like, what must I do to achieve this goal? And what are the steps to get there? And what are the critical steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is very important in that because the Holy Spirit will give you the wisdom to go in the direction you need to go. So I totally agree with you in terms of that. But in terms of, so I can see that in business, but what about, is there anything particular like within your family? I know you have an amazing family, wonderful parents that I've known for many years. How do you implement those strategies, not just from a business or a finance perspective, but also from a domestic, like in your marriage with your kids? With how do you do that as a father and a husband?
I kind of works the same way. For example, I can talk about my wife and I talk about my kids, and I do have an amazing family. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I don't even. Sometimes I'm looking at my family as like, okay, I am so unworthy. I don't know how I got into this family. This family is crazy happy.
And I co-sign that because I've been to your house. There's love in
There's
your
love
family.
in this family.
Oh
Yeah,
my
there
God.
really is. There really is. But I think of my wife, for example. I think of the time that we had at the beginning of our relationship or beginning of our marriage. We had challenges, like every relationship, I'm sure. And I think for the most part, we were both headstrong. We'd both been married before, and we kind of had a chip on our shoulders. Like, you know what? I know what happened before. That's not going to happen to me again. Like, I run things. You know what I mean?
We
Now, if you
run
have both
things.
people coming and saying, I run things, how's that going to work? Right?
Mhm.
So, you know, she would go to a level, I'd go to another level. She'd go to a level, and there was just a competition. But at the end of the day, we're both just trying. We were hurt before, didn't want to be hurt again, and we wanted to make sure to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
But once we recognize, and I think something she said, like, I'm for you. Like, I only want the best for you. And this is not in the fight. This was after the fight.
Yeah.
And once I really recognized that, because she said it a few times over time. And once I really recognized that, my whole philosophy changed. So now when she might get mad at me or I feel that she's getting upset over something that I think is like minimal, right? I was like, well, wait a second. Or she was, you know, maybe snapped at me, whatever. I was like, okay, but she's for me. You know, she's on my side. She's not against me. She only wants what's best for me. So clearly, I'm taking it the wrong way. Clearly, she doesn't mean to upset me. Maybe she might have or is or frustrating me in some way, but she's not doing it on purpose. And once I recognize that, kind of play that into my head, as opposed to reacting, I would respond.
Mm.
And my response would be much nicer, much pleasanter. And of course, she would actually correspond back to me in much the same way.
Mm.
And so after a while, the fighting, the disagreements, the what does she mean by that? Or why did she do it that way? Or those thoughts went away. And now it became a different kind of competition. It became a competition like, I want to do something spectacular for her. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do something even more spectacular for you. And that's how our relationship's kind of been, since then. And that's kind of what we do. Like I kind of still sit down, and it's like, if we have a disagreement, it's like, hey, why do we have a disagreement? By myself. Why did I take it that way? Or is that what she really meant? Or if that is what she meant, why is she going in that way? Why is she going in that direction? Why is her mood that way? There's probably something else behind that. Because I don't think I'll just say this. I don't think me leaving my shoes at the front of a house is a big deal, especially if I think I'm going to go out again.
Yes, it is.
But for her, it's like, what the shoes doing here? But it's like, is there something else behind the shoes? And of course, I find out there is. So as opposed to, this is not a big deal, I'm going out again, just leave it there. It's like, let me move them.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah. Right? As my mother would say, or my grandmother would also say, now this is for all the Jamaican Canadians out there, all the Jamaicans who know this saying. So I'll translate it in American English. Two bulls can't live in the same pen.
It's true.
Right? True. So in other words, you can't have two angry bulls. Everybody wants to be on top, and everybody going to fight. Nothing is ever going to be accomplished.
Nothing's going to be resolved. Nothing to be accomplished. Just going to be blood and guts.
And another saying that we say as well is, sometimes, forgive up. You're right, for peace. So is it really worth it? One of the things that Craig and I love what you were saying, it's a real example, is one of the things that is one of our favorite singers, our artists, is Eric Robeson. And
yes, I sent you a picture of that. Remember that?
Yes, I know. Thou shalt covet good things, because I was very covetous. I've never met him. I've heard him sing. Yeah. And you've been to his concerts as well. We like the same taste of music. Yeah. He has a song on one of his older albums called The Box, called I Don't Want to Keep Score No More. And one of the things he says in the intro is, I don't want to just be right. I want to be right with her.
Yes.
So when you have that, when you have that perspective, I even say that in the book. I quote Eric Robeson in the book.
I know.
In my book, 5'2", man. And it's like, it's such a powerful statement. He said, it's like, okay, many of us want to be right in their marriage. They'll do whatever it takes to argue, fuss, hit below the belt, do whatever. And guess what? You won the argument, but you're sleeping on the couch. So
or you're sleeping back to back with a big cavern in between you. Maybe some pillows in between you, right?
Right. And don't touch her. Because the minute you touch her, what you doing? Don't touch me. But you won, right? Did you really
win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did you really win? So, I think one of the major takeaways here when it comes to renew and transform is focus. Here it is. Alonda, write this down. Don't major in minors. Don't major in minors. Focus on the big things, and that is having peace and unity in your home. So you got to renew and transform that warful situation or that uncomfortable situation. And also, how do you contribute this? What I like what you just said, Craig, is you did some self-evaluation and understood where your wife was coming from.
Like that. Don't major in the minors.
Don't major in the minors. Yeah, we tend to do this on the show. The key takeaways, the key nuggets, we put right at the bottom.
Awesome.
So if somebody is watching the show again or taking notes, they can use this to motivate them in the coming week. So somebody out there needs to hear, stop majoring in the minors. Focus on love and focus on unity. And guess what? It costs you nothing to say, I'm sorry.
Nothing. Nothing. And it's something that's important because a lot of comedians they joke about it, especially men, you know. You see it in different shows and movies, and it's like you know, like to say the word sorry, it's almost like some men think like, you know, you're a punk. Like if you didn't do anything wrong, like why are you saying sorry? Why are you always caving to her? You're the man. You got to stand up and be the man. But sometimes, when not sometimes, most times, if you really want to have peace in your relationship, you got to be able to be vulnerable. You got to be able to be transparent. You got to be able to say, look, you know what? I really shouldn't have yelled at you that way. I shouldn't have talked down to you that way. I should have listened a little bit more as opposed to interrupting you when you were speaking. Um, you know, we got to be able to say that. And sometimes you might not say it at the time because maybe it might not want to be heard at that time. But when there's an appropriate time, you got to come back and say, you know, fall on your sword and say, hey, here's what I did. And I contributed to this argument. I contributed to how things are right now.
Right.
And I'm sorry. And outside of saying sorry, you have to go to the next step, which is what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Yep.
Like, how do you want me to respond when you say XYZ?
Mm-hmm.
What would be a better approach? Because I thought my approach was sound. Clearly, it wasn't because look at the result.
Exactly.
So, what should I do? Because you're looking to understand, which is the same thing that I do with my kids, right? You've all heard the saying, seek to understand, then to be understood, which means you have to go out to them and figure out how you have to be. The same sort of thing I do all the time with my teams and sales. You can't be like, it's all about me, 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 me. Here's what I want. Here's what I demand. Here's what I expect. You have to kind of figure out what they want. And as human beings, we're very reciprocating. So when you do something for somebody else, without you asking many times, they want to pay you back. They want to give you a favor because of what you did or how you made them feel. People always remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do the same thing with my kids, as opposed to going up to my kids and saying, I have 3 boys and a girl, as opposed to saying, you know, what's up? You know, what's going on? Right?
Wagwan.
Yeah, Wagwan. You know, I ask
Wagwan.
them full questions, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, tell me a little bit about what you're looking to do in your career, right? You know, I know you're taking this course and this course. You know what? I know you're dating. I'm just curious because I don't know. Like, what are you actually looking for in a woman? Like, what's important to you? Like, I asked them questions to get them talking, open-ended questions, so they can't answer the question with a yes or no or I'm all right. You know, it's going to be something they're going to talk about, right? And by doing that, they feel understood, they feel listened to, they feel important. And so they want to pour back into me.
Sure.
How's your day, Dad? How are you doing, Dad? You're kind of quiet today. Is there something I can do? Right? They recognize, oh wow, you know what? I saw him come home from work and he did all the yard work and he did some cooking and so on. Like, hey, maybe tomorrow I should cook. Right? Maybe I should wash the dishes because he's already done all these things. And then of course, once I recognize it was done, it's like, you know, Kate and Grayson, like, amazing job. You know, thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. Now they have a beaming smile on their face, and guess what? They're going to remember that feeling, and they want that feeling to come back again. So they're going to do it again.
Sure.
And then it just keeps on continuing. That the role of the father, the role of the husband, like everyone just wants to reciprocate because I'm pouring into them all the time. So they got to give back. Got to, but they generally give back. Right?
Sure. Yeah, and that's excellent points. One of the things as well that before we take a commercial break is that we, with our kids, it's very important, like you just said, to have open-ended conversations. My kids are 16 and 14, and it's very important, especially now that both my kids are teenagers. They're looking for their own identity, and your kids pretty much live with you. My kids don't. And I have to make a bigger effort to communicate, more than just what's up, guys, or tell them things that are going on in my life, right? So that way they can feel proud and they can ask me questions. I can ask them questions. They can articulate themselves. My children want to get into sports and, talking to them about how they did and with their sports, their education, their dreams. You want it to be open-ended, like you said before. And also you want them to be able to express themselves and feel safe.
Absolutely.
To talk to me, even if they make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that is very important. You can renew and transform your relationship in your marriage. You can renew and transform your relationship in your job or your career. And you can renew and transform your relationship with your children. Those are very important.
Absolutely.
After this commercial break, we're going to talk a little about, you said a key word about pouring into your kids. Mm-hmm. We're going to deal with the topic of how do you get poured into when you feel empty? So we're going to talk about that. So our amazing producer, Alana, is going to run some commercials. We'll pay some bills, and we'll get back to our interview with Mr. Craige Campbell, my bro for 30 years, all the way from Toronto, Canada. Stand up, and we'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
All right.
All right, cool.
Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Come unto me, all ye that are burdened and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Oh. See, Jesus knows every burden you carry. See, Jesus sees, he tears in your eyes. He said, come, 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 all ye burdened, weary heart. Come, 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 all ye sin-sick, weary soul. I will give you rest. I will give you rest. I will give you rest, yeah. I will give you rest.
All right. So thank you for watching those commercials. As you can see, Alonda has a show called Morning Tea with Lonnie B. That's every morning at 9 Eastern time. And follow her on YouTube. And she reads a devotion and gets you ready for the morning with the Word of God. And then on Fridays, her and her husband, Manny, do a Bible study together, same time every Friday at 9 a.m. And then don't forget Rosalind. She's on Saturdays with Life After. Dear Life After. So Saturdays at 11 a.m. Every show on here. It's like we're building a little network here. And of course, you got yours truly every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are we don't have a name for the network yet, but hey, it's a bunch of shows. It's a family of shows. We support one another. And yeah, we're bringing you quality, quality shows here on YouTube and on Facebook. So support us, please, and tell everyone and share the good news that there's quality stuff that you can really use in your life that can really bless you. Oh, it's called Lonnie B and Company. Yes, that's the network. So I'm very happy to be a part of the network. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I know for myself that I do a lot in ministry, at work, with my kids, with my family, with my friends. And sometimes, bro, I'm tired and I am empty. I don't have anything to give. Right? What are some of the ways, and I'm sure you feel the same way because you got a lot going on in your life.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. You know what? That's a good thing because imagine when you're idle and you don't do anything, that's when you get in some nonsense. So I know
that will work. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So how do you, when you're empty and when you have nothing to pour, how do you get replenished emotionally, spiritually, physically? What do you do? What are some of the things? Are there books that you read? Are there exercises that you do? Are there other men that you talk to? What do you do to, as a man, a husband, a father, a business leader, a ministry leader? How do you do it?
That's a good question. I do a number of things. There was a person, a good friend of mine. I was friends with him from I was high school, and you know, he passed away a few years ago. Cameron Frey.
Yeah,
I spoke to him almost every day,
Mhm.
and he would pour into me and always keep me grounded to where I needed to be. So losing him was really hard for me, for obviously a friend, but because of that piece, that really was hard. So what I ended up doing after that is really just I guess really just taking time out for myself. My wife actually pushes me sometimes to do that because I rarely take breaks. I a lot of times I go to sleep like at maybe 11 o'clock, sometimes later, but I'm up every morning at 6 a.m., regardless of what time I go to sleep. And I'm doing my devotion, I'm working out, I'm setting up my day, and you know, my reading, my writing, all kinds of things before I start my work day. But there are times, yeah, like I'm just spent. I don't have any energy to do anything. My mind is not able to take in anything more. And those are the times when I'll do usually one of two things. I'll go for a walk.
Mhm.
It doesn't require a lot of energy, like physical energy or thinking, right?
Right.
Outside of maybe avoiding a couple stop signs or a couple cars. And sometimes, like I said before, sometimes I will just sit. Like it's not time for bed, but I'll just sit in the basement sometimes and just be in the dark and just kind of just relax. And I sit up because if I lay down, I will fall asleep. And there's no point, right?
Right. I'm the same way.
If I'm tired enough, I can fall asleep standing up. Honestly, like I'm like that. I'm a log when I go to sleep. But I'll just sit and just kind of just try to decompress,
Mhm.
right? And think about, you know, I try not to think about anything really, right? Not really think about anything, and really like let God speak to me, let the Holy Spirit speak to me as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of decompress from rest of the week. And once I'm done that, then I will maybe do some reading. Sometimes I listen to audible books, you know,
Mhm.
and even if I start to fall asleep, you know, sometimes your unconsciousness is taking in some of the things that you're listening to. And those are the kinds of things I do. Um, Funny enough, I don't really have a person outside of my wife. I don't really have a person where like, okay, I'm just like, I'm ready to just lose it. Like I have nothing left. So, yo, bro, can you talk to me and help me through this? I don't really have that person. I am that person for a lot of people, but I don't typically do that. And I
You're
should
not, you're
also.
not me.
I have you, but it's, and I appreciate that, you know, I do. It's a pride thing for me.
Okay.
And it's just funny because I'm always talking to men about getting over that pride. You got to open up yourself. You got to be able to be transparent and emotional and so on to another brother. And so they can feel comfortable to share with you.
Right.
But there's that pride that I've always had because I think I did that so much with Cameron, and then when that part of it stopped, it's like I just didn't want to. Well, okay, I'll start doing it to you. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
just
It's hard to replace people like that were so,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It almost feels like an insult to his legacy if
in a
someone's
way,
that quickly replaceable.
right.
Yeah.
So I just never did. I just continue on my own, and of course, obviously, working out. Working out's huge for me. I don't go to the gym. I've created a gym in my home. So I'll
Absolutely.
do high intensity workouts and just beat the crap out of my body sometimes.
Yeah. Listen, Craig has He did this 3-minute, like, I don't want to even call it a commercial, but a 3-minute movie of him working out. It's like with his voice, I don't do this for football anymore. I don't do this for school. I do this for me. And it's like word. Like he's like this. Hey, he works out a lot, as you can probably see. And I think that's great that you working out. There's something cathartic about running or lifting weights or whatever. And many of the things that I do is, fortunately, I have quite a few people that I should say a few people that I talk to as men. You can't tell everybody your business, right?
Nah.
Because some people will use it against you. Some people will throw it in your face. But I like to say one of the recommendations is a band of brothers. Taking time to reset and refill is essential because you can't pour from an empty cup. At times, doing nothing is the something you need. Thank you, Dawn, for saying that.
She's right.
I live on a Google Calendar, and thank you, sir. You have to have. I have to schedule rest. I have to put in my calendar. Yeah, you have your appointments, you have your client deadlines, all of that stuff. My writing deadlines. But I also have to say, you know what? From 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock or whatever, I'm doing nothing, right? I'm doing nothing. I've earned the right to do nothing, because if you're constantly busy, and I am, you have to be sure that you'll burn out. And with all the vicissitudes of life and all the things, the changes that are going on, you have to take time to rest. This is why, yes, I'll say this, I'm not ashamed of it. That's one of the reasons why I love the Sabbath. Because one of the things for me and for you is that's a time where I don't have to worry about my bills. I don't have to worry about hey, look who's on.
Who's that?
Isabel.
Oh, hi, Isabel.
Hey, baby, how you doing? Yeah. So you need to make time to rest and not think about these things and pick it back up again later, right? You need to have rest. You also need to make time for the things you love to do. Yeah.
That's so important.
What are you passionate about? Yeah.
Me?
What do you I know you like exercise. I know you like music, right? What else are you passionate about?
Man. I guess sports. Like I'm passionate about, my kids and my family, my wife, of course. I mean, that's a given. But I guess sports, like I love my NBA, I love basketball. It was really hard for me to give up football. Like I think you introduced me in the beginning. It's like I'm a grandfather of a 2-year-old boy, which is awesome. So I'm older than I look, right?
He's only 35, y'all. He's only 35 with gray in the beard like me.
But I was really passionate about football. So yes, I played high school football and I played in touch leagues and flag leagues all the way, like every single year. So I started football when I was 11 years old, and I played some kind of football all the way up until I was 50. And then COVID hit and it kind of just shut things down. I never really got back to it. But that was the one thing I was passionate about. I played football pretty much all year round. They had a summer league, they had a fall league that was in a winter league that was indoor and playing inside a dome. So that's something I really, really did. So I have to kind of shift that. And that's why I'm more to, working out and running and all those kinds of things now, because football was the one thing. Like when I was on the football field, man, like I was just in the zone.
You were a running back too, right?
I was a running back. Yeah, I played a little bit of linebacker as well. But when I was playing touch and flag, I'm just like a runner like everybody else. So, but I would get the deep stuff because even though I'm a, big guy, I still had some pretty good speed. And I played defense also deep. But yeah, when I was in the zone, like a lot of people say I'm kind of a mellow guy. I can be when I was playing football. when I was on the field, man, like I turned into
Craige the monster.
yeah, I was a jerk. Like I was not the guy you want to play with, right? I was not the best teammate because I just hated to lose. So when football was taken away from me, I had to transition to different things, and I still miss it, but not missing it enough to go back and start playing again. Like I'm smart enough to know, like I only have one gear, and that's full speed. And at my age now, to go full speed, I will damage myself.
You need a tub full of ice.
Yes,
and
big
some
tub of ice.
Bengay rubber.
Bengay and Alteran and the A535 and everything else. So
no, sir. And don't forget the Tiger Bomb. You West Indians know about Tiger Bomb. Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Is
it Adore?
Adore? It's her name's Audra.
Audra?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Audra. I pronounced your name wrong. Sabbath rest is definitely a thing because I sleep in. On Saturday. I don't get up on my regular 6 a.m. So I'll sleep a little bit, and of course after church and everything, I come home. I sometimes do get a nap. I don't nap at any time during the week ever, even if I want to. But on Saturday, I will sometimes take a nap, or at least I'll just relax. Sometimes I'll sit on my deck, outside. Sometimes I'll just sit up inside or in the basement or in my bedroom. But yeah, that is definitely a day that I unwind. I don't look at my phone nearly as much. I still do, but business wise and emails and everything else, like, I check out of that. I don't even come in here. Like, this is the office. Like I said, I close the door, Friday evening, and I don't even come in here unless I just got to grab a piece of paper or something. So I really check out. So that's really, really critical for me.
Oh yeah. It's
critical.
That Sabbath nap hits different. Like it's like after church, and here we call it the lay activities, lay in your bed. So it's like, I don't do that every Saturday.
No, I don't. But I just to wind down. Like, even your mind, body, everything is just kind of, you just bring it down to a different level. And that's the time I really chill with my family, because my kids are at school or working. So now they don't have to on that day. So now we're like, tell me about your week. What are you going to do next week? Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a ride or something. Like we can really come together as a family. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's just, I knew you funny with the Tiger Bomb. But hey, I just want to share.
It smells terrible though.
Ooh, but it works. It'll burn through every nerve. Yo, if you in pain, put some of that Tiger Bomb on. Watch now. Hey, Tiger Bomb is not a sponsor of the show. I'm not going to keep bringing up Tiger Bomb. They're getting sales because of us. I need a check. So sometimes many of us may not know about the Sabbath blessing, and we're not telling you to drop your church and do whatever, but I'm just saying it's in the Word of God. It's in the Old Testament.
Take a day off, man. Whatever it is, what Sabbath or not, like, take a day off. You cannot. The human body is not designed to work, 8-9 hours, 7 days a week. It's just not.
Yeah,
it's
Friday night.
It'll show up in some way, in sickness and stress, in an ailment, and some kind of disease. It shows up. You need to take a rest. Absolutely true.
Exactly. That's important. And for many of us, it's from Friday night, sundown, to Saturday, sundown. So that's common with the Jews and many Christian denominations that practice that. So that's just something out there. We just want to throw out that, and check it out for yourself. Craige, one last thing before we sign off here is that, what advice could you give? And I'm loving this conversation. And if you're loving the conversation, like, share, subscribe, and click the button to follow and share it with everyone you know. Final thoughts. What are some of the things, advice you could give for someone who wants to renew and transform in the second half? It's Voltaren. Voltaren. Oh, not Tiger Bomb. Oh.
Okay. Actually, Voltaren works really well, and there's no smell. Works really, really well.
Oh, okay.
No smell at all.
Well, Voltaren is not a sponsor, of the motivation.
No, it's
Thank
not.
you, Latoya. But yeah, what's some of the things that you could recommend?
I would say TPA. TPA is what I look at. And what is TPA? Think, plan, and act. You can't
Think,
be
plan.
going and going and going like I said at the beginning, if you're going in the wrong direction, you're going to continue to get what you've been getting. So you got to stop for a second. You can even put S in the beginning. Stop. You got to think like what it is that you're trying to achieve, what it is that you want. What do you want the next 6 months to look like versus the last 6 months, right? So think about it and think it from the end in mind and think backwards, right? Then you got to plan. Okay, now that I've thought what I want to do, plan. And don't plan by thinking. Now is the time to take those thoughts, put it on paper, or put it on the screen, right? What are my plans? And don't think you got to put it all in the proper order. Just start writing. Put it all on paper, everything you can think about. Then you start prioritizing and figuring, what do I do today? What do I do tomorrow? What must be done by the end of this week, this month, etc. Then once you got all that together, act, right? You got to take action on the plans. You got to take action on the things you've thought of. To constantly think about it and readjust and perfect and this and that and not take action, you're not going to actually get to where you want to be. So it's really important. I think action is one place where most people stop. We all have the same amount of time in the day. We all do. Whether we have a job or we have a business, we have family or not, we all have the same amount of time in the day. The people that achieve things in their family, in their jobs, in their careers, in their businesses are the people that act and act quickly. It's not like, okay, I know exactly what I got to do. I'll do it next week because I really want to watch the show, right? I know exactly what I want to do, but you know what? Right now, I'm kind of tired. This is really a good time to maybe do some cleaning because this desk is just a mess, right? You got to put all that stuff aside and act on the plan because it's important to you enough that you thought about it, you planned it out, you wrote everything down, prioritize it. Now, if you really, truly want to get what you want, you got to act on out on something. Like I don't have the knowledge. I need some help because I don't know how to design, for example. I'm not a good writer. I'm not a good speaker. I don't have the technical ability. Then put those things in motion. Go to school, take a course, read a book, get someone on the phone. Who do you know, Gregory, that can blah, 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 right? And then you put your plan in action. And I think those are the best things to do to really make sure that the next 6 months, that the next half of this year, 2023, is just as dynamic as you want it to be. Just as dynamic as when you were thinking in December, thinking, okay, January 1st, here's what I'm going to do. If you can look back from January 1st to June 30th, you didn't get the results that you wanted. Well, now it's time to recalibrate and renew and transform your life completely and do the things and get. So on December 31st of this year, be like, thank God I'm here. Thank God I achieved these things. But you're going to be able to go back and look at how you did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I love the acronyms are the easiest way to get those new habits in. So think, plan, act. If we could put that, everyone put that in the chat. Think, plan, act. Think, plan, act. That is the how do I contact Craige Campbell? We're gonna get to that in just a second. You may have another interview. So yeah, man. So this is really good. Think, plan, act. Put that on your fridge. Put that on your goals. Put it in your bathroom. Put it on your fridge, like I just mentioned. Put it somewhere where you can see it. I'd also add one other thing, Craige. Tell somebody you really trust who's God led you what your plan is and that will hold you accountable, right? Someone that'll say, hey, you said you were going to start this business 3 weeks ago. Where are you with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a pool of people, and the pool can be small, of people that will hold you accountable and want to see you succeed in your plans. Amen. Craig, this has been amazing. I've gotten a few people saying, how can we contact you? Because people really like your knowledge and really like your wisdom. How can we have, what's your email address, your Facebook, your Instagram? How can folks in my audience reach you?
I just sent it out to your producer, but you can reach me at campbell.craige@gmail.com. That's like my email. And of course, my Instagram handle is Craig RGC. Actually, that's not it. I just lost it. What is it?
Don't mislead them.
I know. RK Craig, as in with an E on it, right?
Yeah.
CRAIGE, and then RKG. Okay. Right. That's my Instagram.
Everybody who's watching this, take a picture of this right now. Campbell at Craig@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to him, if you got questions, he has a lot of knowledge from a sales perspective, from a ministry perspective, and he's an overall really good guy. And also, his wife is a powerhouse as well. Latoya
is a powerhouse, man.
Powerhouse. And preach, consulting, with businesses and all kind of stuff she does. So when I don't use the term power couple lightly, but I'll use it here. Right. So, and one other thing we mentioned about Canada a lot, the 416, some people got offended me just saying Toronto. So shout out to Mississauga, the 905, and shout out to Sudbury, the 705.
Sudbury.
You know who you are.
I went there once.
Yeah, I've been there once too. But anyway, thank you so much for coming in. And hey, listen, everybody, if you enjoyed this show and if you enjoyed shows of the past, please consider prayerfully supporting this ministry, this show. You can send a love gift. I'm asking for about $10 from my audience. $10 if you send it to my Cash App, which is Bloomfield at Ting, Bloomfield Ting. We're going to put it on the bottom of the screen. Bloomfield Ting is the Cash App. If you were blessed by this, share it, but also sow a seed into this ministry as well. So thank you, Craig, so much for being a part of this.
Pleasure to be here.
I know people were blessed by this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like just one person, especially Isabel, right?
Oh yeah, Isabel's like,
especially her.
Craig, yeah. Thaddeus is like, yeah. He played football.
And thank you, Latoya, for joining as well. My lovely wife.
Oh, shout out to Latoya.
And she truly is lovely.
Oh, amen. and my mom is here. My mom, she wrote something. Hey,
that's right. Right.
She's here.
Thank you for being here.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
God bless
maybe we'll do it again. Who knows? We can get into all the other stuff, like the leadership stuff and whatnot, another time.
Oh, trust me, you will be back.
All right.
All right. Love you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in tonight at Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield. We are out. Share the love.
Take care.
Oh,